Hi, folks. We give people a minute to tune in. Hey, folks. Ah, there he is.
Hey,
There he is.
what's going on, man?
Not too much. How are you?
Dude, I'm doing good, man. It's a wacky time, but things are good, just staying busy.
Well, I'm really excited to be talking to you. Just for a little introduction, my name is Pete Friedman. I'm the founder and publisher of CentralTrack.com, and I'm here with Jaret Reddick, the frontman of Bowling for Soup, which is just really one of many things he has his hands in.
Yes.
Which I hope to talk about over the stretch of this. But I think just for a little background, Jared kind of like my white whale in terms of North Texas luminaries who I've never interviewed.
Really?
Yeah, you and I have met a number of times over the years.
Okay.
But we've never done an on-record interview before.
Are you sure? Not even when you were? I thought we did.
No, I can tell you the story because I remember it was like, I think it was when did Sorry for Partying come out? Was that 2009?
2009, yeah.
And that was like very early Twitter days, I think. And
and in fact, I learned Twitter right after we were done recording that album. The reason I know that is because that album came out on Jive, and when we were making that record, we had finished it, and they wanted another single. And so I went to LA to write another single, and we had just spent 6 weeks making that album, and I was so over it. So me and my friend Linus basically just learned Twitter for about a week, and that's what we did.
What I remember is we had an interaction on Twitter because the album was coming out, and someone I think tagged me and was like, "You should interview Jaret for the new album."
Yeah.
And you replied, and you're like, "We're so old, Bowling for Soup. The Observer doesn't care about us anymore."
Oh, yeah, that's probably correct, yeah.
And so what I remember you and I had a back and forth, I don't know if you remember this, where to run out that riff, I was going to interview you before your show at the Granada Theater at the nearby Luby's, and we were going to go get the early bird special.
That's right.
And then you wussed out. Or maybe you probably had a conflict with it.
Yeah, I bet I did, man.
But no, so that was the only time we'd ever really gone forward with it. Obviously, we've interacted a number of times, and it's good to see you. It's nice to see a friendly face during this time.
Let's freaking go to Luby's sometime soon when we can again.
I think we owe each other a Luby's interview.
My thing about the Observer was pretty well warranted, though, because they hadn't covered us in years, and even when they did, they're a fucking hate rag. They're just mean, and they don't support the arts, and they fucking don't support bands, and so fuck them. But I will say this, and I haven't got to thank you for this yet. Look at this.
What's up?
So Track, on the other hand,
congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So you got that. So I'm friends with your tour manager, Dave Hale.
Yes.
And he picked that up. Yeah, so you guys were inducted into our honor roll, which is to say that you guys have been long-term contributors to the scene, and it's kind of you're past the point where if we were to nominate you for anything, it'd be unfair to the other people. So we want to make sure to acknowledge you guys for all that you've accomplished, while also being fair to the up-and-comers. So congratulations, but yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, have you checked out that record?
I have.
Have you opened it?
This thing is amazing. Look at this.
So it's playable.
No way.
It's playable. It's got the best song nominees from this year on there.
No, but it's so cool that it has the thing.
Yeah, the what's that called?
The little tag thing.
Yeah. I forget. The etching, yeah.
I can't decide if I want to just hang this up. Just the record is kind of cool.
Yeah, but hey, I've seen all ways, and it's yours now. It's yours now. I guess you're not sharing that with Bernie and the boys.
Well, that's the way it happens. I'm the one that actually saved stuff
Okay.
My walls are all covered, so pretty much, yeah, I get pick of the litter.
Well, it seems to me also though that you're kind of uniquely suited to like sheltering at home. You do a lot of stuff at home as is. You podcast regularly.
Yeah.
I think you're one of the artists I've seen doing like streaming performances. This is not new to you. I know a lot of people are doing it, but you've been doing streaming performances for a long time.
Yeah, since 2009, actually. I started doing it right after that Sorry for Partying record.
And you have a home studio, right?
I do. Yeah, I have a home studio. So I mean, I've managed to keep myself really busy. In fact, I have a show right after this tonight. Cool. So I did 2 shows today, 2 Thursday. I'm still doing Chuck E. Cheese. And so I'm the voice of Chuck E. Cheese. And
I was going to ask about that, but let's get into it now.
Yeah, no. So it's been cool because we're doing a ton of live streams and things like that.
For Chuck E. Cheese?
Yeah, it's really cool, man. They come out every Friday, and there's.
How did you become the voice of Chuck E. Cheese, and when did that happen?
So, long story short, I was doing improv comedy.
Okay.
I took excuse me. I am not bored. I just need oxygen. I was doing improv comedy. I actually took a class at Ad Libs back when they were in Deep Ellum.
Yeah.
And so Dan from Ad Libs was my teacher, and then the class went really well, and he was like, "Dude, let's start a group." So we started an improv group, and then Richard's group locally here got the account for Chuck E. Cheese, and it just so happens that the 2 dudes that got the account had seen me do comedy. They were fans of Bowling for Soup. So they knew I could sing. They knew I could do cool things with my voice or whatever. Yeah. And so, yeah, man, it was honestly, it was pretty nuts. I got the job, and I really didn't know I had it yet. So,
well, what are the responsibilities of the voice character?
Well, so I do anything that's in a commercial where he talks is me. That hasn't been quite as active in the past few years because they've been marketing more to parents, and also they have an influencer on there that tries to, he's making birthday parties cool again. But I mean, all of the voice stuff that's in the shows, all of the voice stuff that's on their YouTube channel, all of the stuff that any and all content where he talks, that's me.
How often are you recording stuff, you think?
Well, right now, a couple of times a week. But before that, it was like maybe once a month, something like that. But, I've been here. I've been here.
Doing okay through all this. They're trying to figure it out. They're definitely pumping out a lot of content.
They're trying to figure it out. They're pumping out a lot of content. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. It's been a long day already. But, they're selling pizza from the restaurant, and it's, they're delivering smiles because if you get it, you still get some tickets, which is cool. You get like a little game and things like that. So, they're doing the best they can. I don't really think that there's it's just a sucky thing. I mean, they're a destination place. The thing about it is that, the guy that I work with the most is, pumping out all of this really cool stuff. And so I have to, he'll send me the puppet singing or doing whatever. Then I have to match the script to the thing. So it's essentially like doing a cartoon. If you've ever seen how they actually do a cartoon, a lot of people don't realize that it's actually drawn first, and then you go into a studio and you match that mouth.
It's never the other way around?
Sometimes it is, but it's harder to animate to somebody speaking than it is for somebody to speak to animation, if that makes sense.
And you've done that too.
Oh yeah, sure. So with Phineas and Ferb, I my character, a lot of times I would have to do that here, and sometimes that would go both ways. I mean, but those episodes take Phineas and Ferb. I think those episodes took like 8 months each to do, and so they're being drawn overseas, and then they can look. Man, that is one of the coolest things I've ever seen, actually. Dan, one of the creators, when he was doing Phineas, like, he wouldn't like the way somebody moved their mouth or something, so he had an iPad and he could literally just redraw it in real time. And there's programs that just make it to where it looks cool. So
that's incredible. That sounds like some wild technology I'd like to know about.
Dude, I mean, of course they're Disney, so they have their they have access to whatever. But yeah, man. But yeah, Chucky's been busy, and I mean,
are you generally like, because you already have you've got multiple podcasts.
Yes,
you've got earlier today you were on live with Frank Turner.
Yes,
and that's a regular thing.
Yeah.
Is that newly regular?
That is regular since this whole thing started, okay. And we're going to keep it going as long as it lasts.
And then how often do you do your Stage It performances? Is it Stage It that you're using?
Stage It right now, I'm doing between 5 and 6 a week.
Wow.
And then my podcasts are both still weekly.
That's why you're tired.
I know. I'm doing, but we've had to redo how we do all of those because normally everybody's in studio. So we figured it out to where we're able to do it remotely, which is cool. I mean, I just miss them being in here, and it's just much easier to riff, and things like that. But yeah, those things, and then still recording Bowling for Soup stuff that we had started before, and we just released a new cover, and
a couple of days ago, the Social Distortion cover.
Yes, yeah, we took a chance and released a a song by some punk rock icons, and quite frankly, I'm surprised that we haven't gotten more negative than we have.
Well,
so
I mean, you guys have an interesting kind of lane in that Bowling for Soup has done dozens of covers throughout the years.
Yeah,
dozens easily. You guys aren't afraid to release covers, which a lot of bands maybe are, or they're reticent somehow. When did that become part of the Bowling for Soup identity?
Early, because actually, going back into the days of us trying to build up our following here in Dallas. I mean, so what we were doing was pretty. It was pretty nuts. We were Bowling for Soup that would play at Curtain Club and Trees and Rick's Place. But we were also Bowling for Soup that would go to another area, like say Pig and Whistle in Fort Worth or something, and we'd do 4 hours of covers.
Okay.
But what we did was we never shit where we ate. So we would do covers, but we would never bring that show anywhere near anybody else. Now, the kind of covers we did was we would do Elvis, but we would do it in the style of Bowling for Soup, or the Beatles in the style of Bowling for Soup. So it sounded like Bowling for Soup. So what we were able to do was anytime you came to see us, we had our wacky cover, and we would do a song, and it would sound like we worked on it for months because we had done this thing, and every single time you saw us, we would do a different cover song.
Yeah,
and people just got
in your back pocket already.
We probably had 100-something songs, and so fast forward into getting signed by Jive, and we wanted to do a cover, and it was between Summer of '69 and You Gave Love a Bad Name by Bon Jovi, and they said I sound too much like John Bon Jovi because I impersonate him when I sing his stuff.
Okay.
So we did Summer of '69, that came out. And then we just started getting tons and tons of movies where we would do a cover for this movie, cover for that movie. Freaky Friday is back here. Here, I'll show you. Freaky Friday is right there.
Oh, no, there it is. Yeah.
See, up there, that one. And so, we did a cover for that one, and that soundtrack was huge. And then, we've been on Scooby-Doo, and just quite frankly, we were kind of the go-to band for that world at that time. But I got to tell you something, and this is the thing that I'm sort of I really do think I'm the first one to really figure this out.
Okay.
But the reason we're doing so many covers now is because you can. Let me explain what that means. When you used to do a cover and you would release it and it would go to, and you would sell it, when you sell somebody's music, then you owe them money. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it's called a mechanical royalty, and you have to pay that to both their, you basically have to pay for their part of the publishing comes out of your part. The world we live in now is a streaming world. And so YouTube and Spotify and Apple Music and Amazon, all of those, Pandora, everybody, they do the accounting for you.
Okay.
So what that means is Bowling for Soup can cover a song and we will still get the performance royalty, which is pennies. However, they still pay the writer and the publisher of that song their pennies. And so really what it was designed to do is up our streams outside of people who, and it's also it's easy to get those bands to cross promote. So like, because why wouldn't they? They're going to get paid for it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm telling, I'm yelling this from the rooftops, man. I'm like, dude, everybody should just be doing covers all the time.
Is there any reason why like a band, it's easier for a band of your stature than a local band?
No, it's the same. As long as you don't sell it. Again, it's and the thing is that you do have to put it, I guess when you go through TuneCore, I don't know if you have to put it on iTunes or not. But again, that is really the only way that you can get it gets a little iffy is if you're supposed to be paying somebody. But you don't owe anybody money if you just cover it and don't sell it.
Wow. Well, that sounds like a great opportunity. Let me reset a little. For those who are just tuning in, I'm Pete. I'm with Central Track. I'm talking with Jaret from Bowling for Soup. We're just catching up a little bit and talking about kind of the way things are right now. And the award-winning Bowling for Soup. You guys also gig a lot. Historically, Bowling for Soup playing. How many shows on average, like recently, are you still playing a year?
Not as many. It's back in the day, we would have been noted, like, we were that band that was crazy. People would just be like, you're crazy. Like, y'all
are playing cover shows on a random night.
Yeah, well, and actually, if you just even get into, like, the years that we had the hits, we were still playing 2 shows on Saturdays, 2 shows on Sundays. We hate days off because they're expensive. And so it was pretty common for us to do 275 shows in a year.
Okay.
And approach 300. These days, no. I mean, I've got 3 kids. Gary has 2. Rob just got married. Bernie's
got the dog.
Bernie has the dog. I'm 48 years old. Chris is 50. We're
I know you're not doing 275 shows, but y'all are regular. Like, because I'm friends with Dave. I know you're touring a lot.
We are doing a lot of work, and we worked really hard last year for the 25th anniversary. So, we definitely still stay busy. But the idea is now we can go out for 2 weeks and then come home for 3, and then go out for 2 weeks and come home for 3, and that's sort of the way it has to be done this day and age. With again,
did you lose any gigs because of the pandemic?
From March to December, they're all gone.
So how many gigs is that?
I think it was 30 something or more. We were only going to play 3 to 4 shows a month. And that was the design of this year was what you do is you get what's called an anchor show where you go and you get one show that pays you a certain amount of money. So economically it makes the trip worth it. And then you build 3 or 4 shows around it. You go out and then that can cover your month. And the idea was, hey, we worked so hard last year. Let's just keep ourselves afloat. We can work on new music if we want, and let's chill for a second. I mean, that's chilling. And then December, we had a whole Christmas tour in the UK. But all of that's all gone. And, we're looking into, I guess the fall is sort of peaking itself out a little bit, but I'm not really into confirming anything until we really know what's up,
Like, is that a conversation you're having with, like, your booking agent? Like, when is the right time to return?
Yeah, and my manager hit me yesterday, and he's just like, look, if they do things where they'll, you're playing a 2,600-seater, but they limit capacity to 500, the venue
that's a major underplay.
The venue is still going to want to open. And so, do you want to go to play 500 people? And I'm like, you know what, man, we got to put food on the table, So it's definitely something that we're considering in the fall. But again, where our band is, we like to schedule 8-10 months out so that we have time to promote it. Because, there's a lot of competition out there, and there's about to be a lot of competition out there at the same time.
I think to a degree, like, I've heard some people talk about, like, larger venues will be forced to be closed because just, large events. Like, you're not going to see, like, probably, like, Starplex or, open because it's that many people. But just because there's so much competition, I think we're right to see a ton of underplays. right?
Yeah, you're going to see a bunch of underplays. The other thing that I say, and I know you talk to like a lot of local bands and things like that, you're about to have probably 8 months of the best opportunity for local bands probably in the history of music. Because
the crowds are going to be so thirsty, or
yeah, people want to go out. And here's the thing: we can't book a show. Like, if they opened up tomorrow, realistically, you're not going to see us play till November. I mean, and that's going to be rushing it.
Well, I think we're about to find out this weekend if people do want to go out, because we're here in Texas.
Yeah,
right? And the governor has ordered that businesses can open, certain businesses, starting on the 1st. And I think that this is going to be a major litmus test in terms of if the economy wants to support it, if they want to stay home, but then also what the repercussions are of opening.
I really honestly think, I mean, I know like everybody here where I am in the suburbs and stuff, and just, we're all going to wait for that May 15th, May 18th, second wave thing to even even consider doing anything. Because
a lot of restaurants have come out around town saying they're going to keep doing their curbside pickup, not open the dining room. But go ahead. Were you going to say something?
There's no real reason to hurry. But again, when bars do open, again, you're not going to have, like, for example, our buddies at Three Links, which, think about it.
It's a cool part.
There's no calendar. They don't have anything booked because it's all unknown. So you're literally going to have the best opportunity to get hungry, get out there and bust your ass and make some shows and play every 2 weeks, because nobody's going to give a shit as long as you can bring people out.
Well, one thing I saw, though, and this is an interesting question I just saw in the comments, was especially on touring shows with underplays and things like that, what's the economy of it? Like, do you think tickets are going to be more expensive?
No, tickets are going to go down because you're going to have...
because of supply, right? There's going to be so many shows.
Supply is going to be crazy. We're going to have to fight to get the club. So our guarantees are going to be lower.
Yeah.
However, there's going to be a weird negotiation in there, because it's like, well, if you're only going to let 500 people in, we have to get this much. And normally, well, as you probably know, bands that tour regularly start making money after 80%. So you have your guarantee of things or whatever, and normally your guarantee of payment is here. And then there's this. Once you get past this right here, this is where all of the profit is. And so
I hear that those percentages might be shifting in some of the negotiation that's going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, for us, we'll be able to, we're lucky in that we could just be like, okay, that's cool, we just won't play. But we need to.
Yeah, I think you guys are lucky, because I think, not just, with things like, you personally doing the podcast and the stage it's and, Phineas and Ferb and things like that. You guys are pretty, you've got your hands in a lot of different things, and you've opened yourselves up through the covers that we talked about too, to a lot of different revenue streams maybe that other bands haven't.
Yeah. And we also run our business differently. I mean, we don't just play a show and divide up all the money. Our money all goes back into a fund. We take salaries, and it's been the same for 20 years. This is how much we get. And then we get bonuses as we go. So obviously nobody's getting bonuses.
You think that kind of business approach is a part of the reason why the band has sustained for so long?
Yes.
Like just flat out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We don't fight over money. Well, yes, it's a very big factor, but we don't fight over money. The way that I run this business, that your bills are going to get paid and you're going to have a place to live. And, as long as you live within your means or whatever. So Chris chooses to be just in Bowling Pursuit. That's his choice. And he's fine. I have a wife and kids, and we choose to live differently. So I've got 12 other jobs. Gary's a realtor, and Rob runs a venue, and his wife's in the military. So, everybody lives within their means, and we run it like a business. And again, I mean, our longevity is that it's being able to get along. It's also knowing, just knowing your role in the band, and knowing that you're the sum of your parts. I mean,
well, I definitely think there's some savvy involved, like with the cover thing that you were talking about. I wanted to ask about a recent song that you guys put out and got some good attention, was the Alexa Bliss song.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so is that just straight up, you're a fan, You like her, or is there a business decision there? Because that's a cool opportunity, and you did get her in the video.
Well,
there's a lot of cool cross promo opportunities there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. It was definitely a business opportunity, but also I'm friends with her. So
okay.
The biggest thing was business wise. It was less of a like, hey, let's write a song that's going to be huge. Yeah. It was deeper than that. It was, man, all the bands that are represented in wrestling that do all this stuff are all like these cock rock, like Midwestern, like rock bands, like, which is great. That's what the wrestling fans really like the most. I'm certain, but pop punk is completely just not even represented there. So I was like, why? And plus,
a lot of wrestlers these days have kind of like a pop punk aesthetic.
She is like the biggest pop punk fan of all time. Like, I mean, Girl in the Bag is one of her favorite songs. So, yeah. And so I basically I wrote the song. Me and Linus wrote the song.
Did she know it was coming?
No, I gave it to her on her birthday.
Oh,
and,
cool.
Like an unfinished thing. And then she knew it was coming. And then the video, it was like, honestly, I was going to use a lookalike. I did not overstep my friendship. She wanted to do it. And the WWE was great. And so... and
it's a fun video. It's like the Weird Science homage.
Yeah, that's my kid in there, too. That's my son.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. It's a cool video, man. It's really cute. Has it been officially adopted as her entrance song? Or is it going to be?
No, I mean... I really can't predict that. I know that they want to use it in some stuff. We were really working towards us being at WrestleMania, which would have been...
I was going to ask. So
yeah.
Can you tell us that story?
All I can say is that we were working our way towards it. Michael Hayes from the Freebirds is one of the big guys in that company now, and he was really fighting for it. And she was fighting for it. It was, I mean, it looked like it was going to happen. It didn't.
Right, obviously, they did their in-studio WrestleMania, and
but that doesn't mean that it. What's that?
I watched that match, and she kicked some ass.
Yeah.
What was what was the plan? You were going to play as she walks out?
Yeah, I guess they've had bands do it in the past. So you play her out, and then she gets a little bit of a longer entrance and whatnot. But yeah, she's great. We've gotten to be good friends, and it's so funny because she can do little things for me that again to get Michael Hayes to FaceTime me and shit where I'm like, this is fucking crazy, and then I'll get Simple Plan to send her a message, and she's like, oh my god, so it's a lot of fun, and she does shout outs for friends and things like that. So it's good, man. Yeah, she loves. That's the big thing.
I mean, it's a banger, man. I think it's good. I think it's really good. I think you guys have, over the years, you guys have compiled a number of kind of really big hits, right? Like 1985, Girl the Bad Guys Want, High School Never Ends. Those seem to be the big three. I know Come Back to Texas is such a big hit in Texas. How does that song play elsewhere?
First of all, Almost was the second biggest hit, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, Ohio does really great, man. People love it. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like that. That is the first part of our show every time, where I'll just be like, everybody sing, and they're like, come back to, and you can hear it with your in-ears in. That's like the first really big. I always put that song third or fourth.
Do the references carry? I mean, obviously Whataburger, things like that.
They don't. People don't know what Bluebell is. They don't know. I mean, also the Bush Twins is really dated. Obviously, Pantera is a bit of a weird one. So we're re-recording our second greatest hits. So we did our first greatest hits. We re-recorded the first 10 years. The biggest hits there. Now we're re-recording the next 6 years because that's the 3 big albums.
Yeah.
And wait, yeah, that's no. It was through Drunk Enough to Dance. So our first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 albums were on the first.
Are you looking at your gold records?
Yeah. Well, now I'm just looking at all of our albums are.
Okay, cool.
See up there.
Cool room.
They're all. So that's all of the Bowling for Soup albums that you're seeing on the top of that wall and then down that one. But the gold records are back here.
Yeah, man.
And I got a double platinum and 2 more golds coming.
So, I mean, I know didn't you recently, was it 1985, the lyrics you updated for that, like, BBC little thing?
Girl the Bad Guys one, I think, right?
Oh, was it? Yeah, I know you referenced, like, Post Malone. So, were you just saying that you're going to be updating some lyrics on the new stuff?
Okay, no, so what I'm saying is we left everything intact except Ohio.
Okay.
And or in the middle of Ohio, where it says Troy Aikman, we took him out. We left Willie Nelson in. What?
What are you replacing Troy with?
Well, I don't know if you know this or not, but I think Troy Aikman's kind of a dick. So
Luka Doncic, Dirk Nowitzki.
You know who I replaced him with?
Who?
I'm going to tell you. You want an exclusive?
I want the exclusive. Yeah.
I replaced that motherfucker with Mark Cuban.
Hell yeah.
That's what I did.
Have you interacted much with Cuban over the years?
Just like we played a couple of his South by Southwest parties. I know he knows who we are and things like that, but you know, and then we have a lot of mutual friends. Like I know Donnie Nelson, and I know they do a bunch of business together and things like that. So
Donnie's like a massive music fan.
Dude, Donnie's the best. That guy is so cool.
Well, so we talked a lot about covers. I think one of the more popular covers that you guys have in your repertoire, and I think to the point where some people might even think it's your original song, is Stacy's Mom.
Yeah.
We lost Adam Schlesinger from Fountains of Wayne. He wrote that song. He was instrumental in That Thing You Do. Did you know Adam at all, or did you interact at all when you recorded a version of that?
Yeah, I actually know Adam. I've known him for a long time. We actually wrote High School Never Ends together. So
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, so when I was starting to do co-writes back in the day, I just basically would reach out to my favorite songwriters, and I loved Fountains of Wayne. And, the guy said yes. And so we've written together many, many times and have gone out. And so, yeah, we were good friends. And a funny thing about Stacy's Mom, I'll let you know the actual story behind that.
Okay, yeah. Was that first released on a Japanese record with you guys? Or no?
No.
Okay.
But so that song chased us. We didn't chase it. People thought we were the band that did Stacy's Mom before we ever even did it.
It sounds, it fits a Bowling for Soup, melody, pacing, kind of tongue-in-cheek, a little dirty.
What we think happened is, through our analysis of professional analysis, is that they were hits on VH1 around the same time.
Okay.
And then Napster and LimeWire and all of that stuff was really popular at the time.
Yeah.
And we just think that Stacy's Mom got mislabeled Bowling for Soup at some point and just spread like wildfire. Yeah. And because before we even covered the song, when you searched Stacy's Mom, the second thing that came up was Bowling for Soup. So
ahead of Fountains of Wayne or right after?
Say again?
Ahead of Fountains of Wayne?
The second thing would be Fountains of Wayne, and then it'd be something about Bowling for Soup. If you search Girl the Bad Guys want, it's 5 pages of Bowling for Soup before you get to porn, And so I've heard. Anyway, so that song, people would show up at concerts with Stacy's Mom shirts. Women would walk up and be like, "I am Stacy's mom," and I'd be like, "That's cool. Say hey to Stacy." You don't really know what to do, and we got credit for it for so long. I was just one day, I'm like, you know what, man? Let's just record this.
Yeah.
And we did it over Christmas and did 8,000 downloads of that thing on iTunes over the course of December. And
what did Adam think of your cover?
So that's the best. That's the best thing of all. This just shows who Adam Schlesinger was as a person and as a musician, because he was always very, he just always had the right thing to say, Mm-hmm. And so I sent it to him, and he just goes, "Man, this is so awesome. It's so cool to hear one of our songs with the vocals in tune." And I'm just like, how do you get a better compliment than that?
That's great. That's great. So that's the death. I don't mean to bring this down, but there's been a lot of sad stuff going on in people that we mutually know.
Yeah.
Adam, we lost to the virus. I don't think we 100% know what happened to our mutual friend, Tony Edwards, who recently passed. But I know he's someone that you were really close with. I know him from, when I first first moved to town before Central Track, and I started at the Observer as the music editor, I mean, Tony was like the third person to reach out to me and introduce himself. And, he had his fingers all over the music scene at that time, and I think well beyond before that, certainly. But when I met him, he was working on these these marketing packages, right, with the fan. I forget the name of it. But obviously, he was just such a fixture in Deep Ellum, and I know he was you go way back with him. I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about your relationship with Tony.
Yeah, it's crazy. So first of all, he was very, very involved in One Ton Records, which is Aiden Holt's label, which came out of Denton and, launched Doosu and Slow Roosevelt and Kalk and, just...
But the class that Bowling for Soup rose with, right? The class of bands.
The class that we wrote, or we were sort of just behind them, but they were kind of the cool kids because they were, they were on One Ton.
Yeah.
And he was just that fire behind that whole thing, and he would just be he promoted, and he was at the shows, and he was constantly just meeting people and talking, and like. He just loved every band that he saw, and every single band that he saw, he found a way to help them or touch them in some way.
Yeah, he's a man who really used his influence.
I just don't know that I've ever known anybody like him before, in that, he literally would. He'd see a band for the first time, and he'd be like, okay, I'm into this. Like, we're going to do this, 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 and this. We're calling this. I'm going to get you studio time over here. We're going to, and he was just that, all the time.
Yeah, he had a real way of sinking his talents into things that he liked.
He did, and he was just always around, and he worked for BMG for a while, and so our first... BMG did the promotion for our first few records that we did on Jive. And so, he was the guy that was going to record stores and hanging up our posters and all of that, and making sure that all of that stuff.
So he worked Bowling for Soup.
Excuse me?
Like he worked Bowling for Soup.
Worked Bowling for Soup. He did.
Okay.
He got in the van and did that stuff. He went in there. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
He went in there and he fought for our shelf space, and he fought for, end caps and things like that. And, I just, again, I can't say enough about the guy, that guy, anytime there was something wrong with someone, he threw a benefit show and figured out how to do it, when, the huge one just a few years ago when Paco, Estrada was so sick, and he managed to pull together just this insane benefit, and it's not the first time that he's done that, and he did this thing and this acoustic thing for several years where it just gave so many bands chances to get in front of people, get in front of club owners, get in front of bartenders, and I just cannot say enough about him. The positivity that he just he just exhumed. Positive, and just you really, even when he was going through his shit, he didn't pour it all over you and make you feel bad.
He had a way of I think what I posted on social media was like, he just had such a boisterous personality. Like when he entered the room, everyone knew. Like he filled up the room, and not just because of his voice, which carried.
Yeah,
and he was not a large man.
No.
He's pocket size.
Yeah.
Tony Edwards. But man, he just filled up a space. He filled up a room.
Yeah, it's I really think this, and I know that I see a lot of local people on here.
Yeah.
There's literally a star that's missing from the sky, and shining over Deep Ellum and everywhere. It's crazy.
He's I'm not originally from Dallas. I've been here 12 years now. There's a reason I've stayed, and because I think that this city, I really enjoy it, and I think the scene is really special. There is something special here. There's a lot of great talent. There's the neighborhood Deep Ellum is so cool. Denton is, so instrumental, the whole Fort Worth scene. But, people like Tony are part of that kind of unsung kind of cog, right? That spins the wheel, and he's gonna be lost. So
yeah, it sucks, man. I mean, he went out on the road with us several times, and again, just always happy to be wherever he was, and so.
I think the lesson, as ever, is that it's important to connect with people, and that's why I'm so thankful for you taking the time today to talk to us, and hopefully provide some entertainment for some people. Also, dropping exclusive gems about Mark Cuban on here.
Yeah, the new Ohio.
So is that why? Though, is that part of the reason why you're doing the new, like, all these stage it gigs? You wouldn't normally do 5 stage it gigs a night.
No, I honestly was a mess the first couple of weeks of this whole thing, and I suffered from crazy anxiety. And I'm, despite being the happiest person in the world, I don't know how this works, but apparently it's a thing. I have some pretty gnarly depression as well, and that doesn't mean I'm sad. It just it's what it is. What it is, and so I was. The calendar was blank, and I didn't really have anything to wake up for, and we stayed up too late, and I just was a mess. And so I just said, okay, fuck it, I'm going to do a stage it show. And so I did my first one, and it was crazy awesome. And everybody was like, thank you for giving us something to do. So I'm just like, well, shit. I mean, I don't have anything better to do either. I'll just start doing these. And so I've done as many as 7 in a week. I'm doing 4 this week. I got one literally right after we're done with this. Yeah, I'll be on stage at 8 o'clock.
I'm familiar with the brand, but I'll be honest, I've yet to watch a stage it show.
Yeah.
And I imagine I'm not the only person.
Yeah.
What can you explain the platform a little and how it works?
Yeah, it's a really easy platform. I mean, it's very artist friendly. They need to update some of the technology stuff because it really hasn't been updated in a long time. But quite frankly, it's kind of just now catching on again, because we're all locked in our houses. But it runs on a system of these, almost like a token thing.
Okay.
So the way that I do my shows, you pay what you can. So I think you can get in for 50 cents or something like that. Or you can hitch a ride and somebody else will pay your suggested
cool.
$2 or whatever. And then you have these little tokens that are 10 cents each, and you can tip as it goes, or you can, ask for things. And then I'm able to reward the top tippers, although I make it clear, like, I'm not doing these just for the money. I appreciate the income and all of that. So I make the top tipper prizes really cool because I appreciate that.
What's the prize you would give?
Like today, I'm giving away, or not giving away, but like the first top tipper gets a Drunk Enough advanced CD.
Oh, cool.
Like super limited and super collectible because most people threw these away.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I used to get sent all the time.
That's what you used to get. And then top 5.
Part of me misses those, but God, it's so much less wasteful now.
Yeah, man. I mean, when somebody hands you a CD now, I feel like a dick, but I don't have a way to play it. So it literally goes I take a photo of it, I throw it into the trash can, and then I go listen to that band on Spotify. But so, and then I've got a few leftover Bowling Pursuit promos with Eric on there, signed by Eric. So these will go to the top 5, and I'll personalize it or whatever. But, you just try to give somebody something that maybe they can't get elsewhere. And I have a tour shirt. So, and I'm donating part of the money to Music Cares. So you can go get a tour shirt, and after this is all over, it'll have every date that I did while we were in lockdown, and whether it's sold out, like what I did during the show and all of that.
Okay, what is the sold out show?
I limit mine to 250 people because my audience is really active. So there's a chat room the whole time too, and they're chatting the whole time. But Justin Furstenfeld does 5,000 people. So you know,
have you looked into any other platforms like Twitch or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm starting to kind of just get curious about it. I'm definitely not going to stop doing Stage It, but I am wondering if there's more people to find out there on other platforms.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of people tell me Twitch, you know, just live stream in general. But yeah, I mean, I'm super curious about it, but, you know, I've sort of made my commitment to Stage It, and you know, I wouldn't mind fucking around on Twitch just to see what would happen, but you know, I'd have to learn it.
Well, you've also made a commitment to talking 45 minutes plus with me tonight, and I know you like we said, you did the Frank IG Live earlier. Did you have another? You had another performance earlier today too?
Yeah, I did a show at 2. I did the Frank thing at 3. I went down, covered all my wife's plants with tarps, played a game of Sorry with my family, came back upstairs, learned 2 songs for tonight's show, talked to you, and now I'm going to do this. And this is my first beer, so, like, I'm fucking killing it.
I think we're drinking, you know, we're not sponsored, so let's hide.
Friends.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, no, Jaret, this has been, I really appreciate you taking the time. It's been really nice just chatting with you.
Yeah, man.
I'm regretting that it's taken us so long to do this. So let's do the Lubies thing at some point soon.
Let's sit down and have a chat, man, and do just some real stuff. And you know, man, I'm glad that we've gotten to hang out a few times. Yeah. Despite
at the roast of Scott Beggs, for instance, when you rushed me off the stage, I think you're making up for this right now. You're giving me the time that you took away from me at the roast of Scott Beggs.
Oh man, it sucks so bad because I thought all of my jokes were killer, and then I fell so flat on my on my Oliver joke because I go because he never wears a shirt. He always has his coat on and no shirt, and so I go, oh, he just had open heart surgery. Maybe we'll get him to put a fucking shirt on now. And I look back and he's got a goddamn shirt on, and I was like, damn it! Like,
you gotta read the room, man. You should know this from your improv courses.
I know. You know what, man? I got thrown to the dogs on that because nobody else wanted to do it, and I did not know 80 or 90% of the people that I had to introduce and try to do comedy on.
You got me good. You called me out for a typo I had in my email. I remember that.
Yeah.
Just really digging my profession. But you know, we got our BFS digs in as well. So you were a good sport then. You're a good sport tonight. I'm gonna let's wrap this up so that we can give you a couple minutes to prepare. But seriously, Jaret, thank you so much. For anyone who's tuning in now, we are going to be having this again tomorrow at 8:00 with Jalen Brunson from the Dallas Mavericks, which we're really excited about.
Sweet.
And then, did you ever watch the show The Circle on Netflix?
No.
So it was like this social media experiment. There's a guy from Oak Cliff named Chris Sapphire, who was like one of the breakout stars and finalists on that show.
Cool.
So we're going to have him on Thursday, and then the next couple of days, we're going to release a new schedule. But honored to have you help us kick off this new quarantine Instagram Live interview series, and break a leg at the show tonight.
Hey, man, hit me anytime. I'm a huge fan, despite giving you a little shit for being negative. I am a huge fan of Central Track and what you're doing. I really think it's super cool, and I share your shit, and I'm a big fan. And so thank you for doing what you do for Dallas people.
Thank you so much, and let's just keep that share culture going. We'll be in touch plenty. But thanks for tuning in, everybody, and have a good check out Jaret's show tonight. And
go to stageit.com. I think there's a few. I think that my earlier one sold out, but there's still tickets for tonight. So come on over.
Still tickets available. Thank you, Jaret. Thanks for watching, and you all have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Take care, man.
Bye, guys.